Hi everybody. So today we're going to be doing lesson 3, and our objective is we will be able to partition. Remember, partition means to break up a whole into equal parts and then identify the unit fractions. Okay, so we're going to talk about each of these vocabulary words first before we go into the lesson. The first one I want you to familiarize yourself with is fraction. What does that mean? Well, fraction, like this one right here, 3/4, the top number is the number of shaded parts, or maybe they're parts that were cut out or bitten out, okay? So that is the number of shaded parts. The bottom number is the number of equal parts that the whole has been cut into, okay? So if we had a pie, let's draw a little pie over here, and we had 4 equal parts. So I'm going to cut this pie into 4 equal parts. And then 3 of these parts were eaten. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so my fraction would be 3/4. And then there's something called a unit fraction. And a unit fraction is very similar to a fraction, but it always has a 1 on top. Okay, always has a 1 on top. So in this case, it's 1/4. So if I go back to my pizza, let me erase it real quick. If I go back to my pizza and I draw that pizza, okay, and I put it into fourths. Each piece is 1/4. That's one piece of the fourth of the pizza. That's 1/4, that's 1/4, and that's 1/4. So those are called unit fractions. It always has a 1 on top. It's each piece. And then we have fractional unit, and that names the equal parts of the whole. So in this case, for 1/4 or for 3/4, our fractional unit is fourths. Okay, that's what that is the name, the equal parts of a whole, okay? All right, so let's look at this first one here. Each shape is a whole divided into equal parts. So it's already a whole, and it's already been divided up for you. Here, what they want you to do is they want you to name the fractional unit and then count and tell how many of those units are shaded. The first one is done for you. So here we have this first one right here. We are going to name the fractional unit. So remember, that's how many equal parts it's been cut up into, and it's the name of that. So for this one, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It's been cut up into 4 equal parts. So we know that the fractional unit is fourths. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So we're going to name it fourths. And then it asks us to count and tell how many of those units are shaded. Well, I see that 2 of the fourths is shaded. So I'm going to write out 2/4 are shaded. Now let's go to the next one here. So first I'm going to name the fractional unit. So I'm going to count up the parts, how many equal parts I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, so the fractional unit, if I have 5 equal parts, is what? Fifths. And then it wants me to count and tell how many of those units are shaded. Well, I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 fifths are shaded. Okay, because 4 of those fifths are shaded. All right, let's go to the next one. And if you need to see that again, rewind the video and watch it again. But we got 2 more. So here we have, let's count up how many units we have. How many equal parts do we have in this one? So I'm going to change my color here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts. So if I have 6 parts, what's my fractional unit? Sixths, right? Now I'm going to count up my shaded units and figure out what my total is. 1, 2, 3. So 3 sixths are shaded. Not too bad, right? Okay, let's look at the next one. Count up how, we're going to name our fractional units. So I see I have 1, 2. So I have 2. If we only have 2 parts that are equal parts, what is my fractional unit name? Half or halves. Okay. And then how many parts are shaded? None, right? There's no parts shaded. There's 0. So 0 halves are shaded. All right, so not too bad, right? So this is something that you're going to see on your independent work too. So do it exactly the way that I did it. Name the fractional unit and then tell me how many parts are shaded. I don't want to see just a 4 here or just a 3 here. You need to write it out. 4/5 are shaded. 3/6 are shaded. Otherwise, we will send it back to you. Okay, here we go. This one says, each shape is one whole. Okay? Estimate to divide each into 3 equal parts. Name the fractional unit below. So after we break it apart into 3 equal parts, and then below it, we're going to name the fractional unit. So if I know that let's look at this one right here first. If I know I need to break this apart into 3 equal parts, I'm going to put 3 fingers up. I'm going to take 1 finger away. That means I'm going to do how many lines? 2 lines. You guys have been practicing this in lesson 1 and lesson 2, so hopefully you're catching on by now. So I'm going to do 2 lines, and I'm going to estimate, right? So I'm going to try and do them as best I can to make sure that each one of these parts looks as equal as possible, okay? And now I have to name my fractional unit. Well, how many parts do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. So this is thirds. All right, and now we're going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to split this one up into thirds. And then I'm just going to write down thirds on the bottom. If you only want to write yours once on the bottom, that's fine with me. Ooh, remember this one. If we're doing this one into thirds, we can't do this, right? These are not equal parts. Not at all, right? So remember when we're doing thirds with a circle, we want to do that peace sign. So I'm going to do like a V on top into the center. And then I'm going to draw a line down. So that looks pretty good. If I needed to erase it, because it looks like it's not that great on this side. A little bit wider. Now that looks better, right? Each one of these pieces looks pretty equal. Okay, and so thirds. Okay, next slide. Now we are going to, for this one, what it wants us to do is that it wants us to go ahead and divide and shade to show the given fraction. So we're going to divide these into the given fraction. The given fraction for this first one here is 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to divide this into 1/2. If I divide it here, I want you guys to think about this. Does this look like it has 2 equal parts? No, right? This top part here, that's not equal to this bottom part. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to erase that. Okay, so what if I do it here? Does that look equal? Yes, right? It does look equal. So then I'm just going to shade one of those parts, which gives me 1/2. And if I was to write that out, the fraction will look like this. Okay, now I have 1/5. I'm going to divide this up into fifths. So this one has a lot more lines we have to do, right? So I'm going to put my fingers up. I'm going to put 5 fingers up. I'm going to take one of my fingers and put them down. How many lines am I going to do? 4, right? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. That one looks pretty good. It's pretty even. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? And then I'm going to shade one of those parts. So my unit fraction here for this one is 1/5. And the last one, 4ths. Okay, so for this one, we are going to draw a line down like a T and a line across. Think about pizza pie, right? And that gives us equal parts to each of these. And then I'm going to shade one of those parts. And I have 1/4. Okay. And so that is actually it for today, for this lesson. So these are everything that you're going to see in your Learn Workbook pages that you're going to do today. So let's take a look at what you guys are going to do today. All right, so for your homework or your independent work today, you're going to do page 17. So this is page 17. And this first problem is exactly what I did at the beginning of this video. So you're like, I don't know what this is. Rewatch the video because I do it in the beginning. It says each shape is a whole divided into equal parts. Name the fractional unit. So they give you an example. That fractional unit on the first one is 4ths. And then count and tell how many of those units are shaded. So 2/4 are shaded. The next one is you're going to circle the shapes that are divided into equal parts. So look at each of these images, which ones have equal parts, and then write a sentence on that line that tells what equal parts means. So we've been talking a lot about that. So in your own words, I want to hear you guys tell me, what does that mean, equal parts? And then this one here says each shape is one whole. Estimate to divide each part into 4 equal parts. So I also did this in the video. So if you're not sure how to do this, you can rewatch the video because I do it. And then name that fractional unit below. So what is a fractional unit if you are splitting these wholes into 4 equal parts? And then on page 18, you're going to do number 4, which says each shape is one whole. Divide and shade to show the given fraction. So I also did this in the video if you want to relook at that. And then you will also do number 5 and number 6, which are word problems. Number 5 says each shape is one whole. Estimate to divide each into equal parts. Do not draw 4ths. So that's the one rule, you can't draw 4ths. Divide each whole using a different fractional unit. So they want you to have you're going to break apart each of these into different fractional units. So maybe one's a half, one's a third, and one's a sixth. Write the fractional unit on the line on the shape below. And then the last one, which is a word problem, you will be doing this one as well. Charlotte wants to equally share a candy bar with her 4 friends. Draw Charlotte's candy bar. Show how she can divide her candy bar so everyone gets an equal share. Write what fraction of the candy bar does each person receive. So that's that unit fraction. And then on the bottom says each person receives. What is the fraction that the unit fraction each person will receive? Okay, your password for today is penguin.